Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat. Can I get a heat check, 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 heat check. Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check.
What's up, SML? Happy anniversary, birthday. I don't know. It feels like a birthday, but I see people saying anniversary. But either way, 5 years. We're gonna do it. We got heat check coming at you today after a little bit of a layoff. But we're back from vacation. We're in a new season. We're excited. We're ready to go. I'm joined today by my co-host, Saskatchewan Snaggletooth, star goalie, maybe the best goalie in NHL 21.
I mean, I'm not going to argue that.
I'm not putting that
you're
past
probably
him.
right.
No, dude just gets shutouts for days. It's the Mad Bomber, the Great Wall, as his new name might end up being here. What's going on, bud?
Oh, not much. Just actually had to go to work today, so we're a little behind on this show, but I think we'll make it work.
We will make it work. We might even be under an hour today. Maybe. I'm
We'll
not
see.
going to promise anything, but maybe.
Don't get too excited. We'll see what we
got. We'll see what we got. But the plan today shouldn't be too crazy. We're gonna recap our first 2 weeks. We got advance to week 3 tonight. We're gonna do some picks, and then we're going to take a look, go around the league, look at some division winners, Foz curse some teams. So it should be a good time. So let's kick it off. Start off with that those recaps. Week 1. Let's hear it.
All right, so let's start with week 1. And the first game listed for week 1 was the Broncos playing the Browns. Dan squeaked this one out 37-31 against Old Man Woods. First game with Dan having his rookie quarterback, no Leverett, no Von Miller, and it didn't look so good for him. He ended up playing pretty well with his rookie quarterback, but he can't be too happy about getting 31 points up.
No, I think he'll be okay quarterback wise. There's going to be some throws here and there, but I don't think they're going to hurt him that badly. The loss of Von is going to hurt. He was absolutely terrorizing and game breaking. That one's going to be a killer for him.
That's definitely the bigger loss. I think he can pretty much play quarterback with anybody. Maybe one or two throws will be worse than they were with Leverett, but missing Von is definitely going to be an issue for him, I think, at least early.
Yeah.
Then that rookie he drafted ended up being a normal dev, nothing really spectacular there, so he didn't.
Right, it's gonna take a lot to get him up.
Yeah. Then we've got let's see, Carolina took on the Buccaneers 45-22. Kind of expected that. Washington took on the Eagles, and this Eagles team is really struggling. Klink's sitting at 0-2, but this was the first game of the season, and he dropped it 31-10 against Washington. Then we have the Chargers snuck by the Falcons 14-6. Ended up getting player of the week for that. Not really much to watch in that game. Dump came out talking about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, this was his year. He was gonna dev him up. First drive of the season for Jalen Hurts was a touchdown drive. 7-0 Lions. Through the pick six. He ends up winning 49-10. I don't think anybody expected much of a different outcome against the Lions. Just kind of funny, all the talk about Hurts, and first thing he does is throw a pick six.
Touchdowns are touchdowns, baby.
Yep. Rams played against Mike, 20-7. Rams took that one. Paulie, his first of 2 wins to start the season, takes on NYT, 27-10. But the big takeaway from this game was the way he shut down Brandon Bayless. Bayless wasn't able to get anything going in this game. He had 10 carries, I believe. 10 carries, 18 yards. Definitely shut him down pretty good.
No kidding.
Matt looks like he's decided to play this season, so 31-19 over Tiny.
Well, did he decide to play or did he decide to run the ball? Because the issue was never playing.
Yeah, I suppose he was always playing, but he did run the ball. Not as much. He ran it 11 times, so 92 yards with Camp, but he did still throw it 14 times with Locke. He was 13 of 14, 261, 2 touchdowns. But it was against Tiny, so we'll see how he does going forward.
It's all right, Tiny. We love you.
The heat check darling two-step. He beats Raider 20-17.
Maybe I was a few seasons early. Let's
only
see.
beating Raider by 3 points isn't exactly encouraging for your season, but a win's a win, so we'll take that. The Bills played the Texans, and Noel looked pretty good in week 1. 31-7 over the Texans. Rams comes out 21-17 over Colt. Both those teams, as we'll see in week 2, are hotter teams in the SML right now, I guess you could say. Rowan comes out and beats Meats week 1, 20-17. Kind of surprising, but Rowan ends up 2-0 after week 2.
Nice little start for the NFC East here if you take Clink out of it.
That's true. The NFC East is looking a little better. We'll see how it goes as the season goes on, because I still don't think they're up there with the NFC West, but right now they're playing pretty well.
Don't sleep on the club, baby. Don't sleep on the club.
We're gonna sleep on them.
All right.
And Jaguars, we took on the Jets. Slow game to start. I actually was down to the Jets. I didn't score in the first or fourth quarter, and won 56-17. So only needed.
Yeah, you
2
sure
quarters.
Wouldn't know it by the total there.
Yeah,
Holy.
it was definitely a slow start though. Raiders played KJ. Future was able to get away with the win that game. KJ looking a little better with that rookie running back. I don't think he did that much, but I think he opens up his offense. 34-27 that game. Titans beat the Bears 35-14. Coop looking pretty good so far. And then, of course, Prime falls 24-21 to your Vikings. I didn't catch too much of that game because it was going on the same time as mine, but I know there was some lag or something that Prime said. His internet only goes out when he's losing. I don't know. Then we moved to week 2. Week 2, same thing. I had a slow start against the Bills and 45-17. Once again, my opponent only does scoring in the first half. We've shut out both opponents in the second half, so maybe we need to figure
So what I'm getting out of this is I should allow you to have a quick start when we play later this season.
Completely thrown.
I'm going to let you score immediately.
Our first big upset, Colt beats Dan 38-35. What do you make of this game?
This is an interesting one because obviously, I mean, this is another game that Dan loses while working on a dev game. But this one, I don't think you can blame on the dev game. I don't know if you saw any of it, but this game really came down to Dan just couldn't stop Colt's offense.
I've got my theories on that. And we know that for a superstar dev game, you need like 200 and something yards total offense for your running back.
Thinking he was throwing it on defense a little bit.
I'm just saying, if you're beating the hell out of somebody, it looks really bad when you try to run up the score just to get your dev game. But if they happen to put up 38 points on you and you've just got to throw to come back and got to move the ball, it doesn't look so bad. So
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Dan, and this is a good year to do it because you don't have Von there, so you could say, "Oh, the defense is taking a step back." I don't know. We'll see. The last drive was telling. I mean, Dan he had the breakout game. He could have closed it out, but he couldn't get the stop. Part of that, it is hard when you're kind of giving points away to get yourself all of a sudden back into a shutdown mindset.
I think there's absolutely momentum in games. Whether or not Madden admits it or some of these people that go in the code can find it, there's absolutely momentum. You can tell when you start like fumbling or throwing interceptions on bad passes, whether it's the user getting some bad momentum or just the game starting to take over.
I don't think anything proves it more than restarted games does. Yeah. Because every restarted game I feel like I've played, it's a completely different game the second time around.
Yes, there's definitely something goes into it. And whether or not Dan threw it on defense and then just couldn't get the stop when he needed one, we'll let the league decide on that, but I have my own opinions on that. So then we had the Browns. Good God, Woods. Browns beat the Chiefs 16-6. I don't know what's going on in Cleveland. I don't know if you caught the trade that he just attempted to make with the Falcons, trading for.
I didn't actually. What happened?
Tried to trade for the Falcons X Factor quarterback. I think it's Clark Todd or
here
Todd
we go
Clark. Giving up his guy that's the 22-year-old, barely worse than the X Factor guy, and then like a first, 2 seconds. Right now the trade's held up because he's already made 2 trades this season, so he's got to get that down to 3 pieces on each side as opposed to 4, because that uses up a second trade that he doesn't have. But how many quarterbacks? We kind of give Figs a lot of shit because Figs has been through 100 quarterbacks and
well deserved.
Yeah, I think Woods and Figs are the same GM. The only difference is Woods wins. Occasionally.
Yeah, you might not be wrong.
He's
And Woods can build a defense too. That defense is sick.
he does have a good defense, and he hasn't blown his defense up yet. But offensively,
Yeah.
Woods and Figs are the same person. I mean, the difference is
You might
Woods
not be,
has playoff appearances.
might not be off. Yeah, it's true.
And you try to attribute that to maybe Woods plays an easier schedule, but I don't think there's an easier schedule than the NFC North.
Yeah, it's tough to talk about schedule.
Obviously,
when you're in this
he's
division.
got you, and you've been the number 1 seed a couple of times. I mean, obviously, really good seasons, but the rest of the NFC North, if you're decent, is not anything that's going to break your back. So I don't know what's going on with Woods though. He's sitting at 1-1, a loss to Dan, and sneaks by Raider fan. Then we have the Cowboys, and Graham's looking a lot better, 31-7 or 31-7 over the Eagles. Eagles kind of struggling.
Speaking of good
right now.
defenses, that Cowboys defense is fast.
Yeah,
Graham's
I think I saw
added
his tweet was like seven interceptions, something like that.
Yeah,
So-
that team can move.
We'll see.
Now, granted, Clink is free picks. If you ever want to pad your turnover stat line, just get
Yeah.
a game against Clink
And he's
and
not
let
only
him
is he
throw
bad
one
at
and just
passing,
watch it
but
snowball.
he's also using a rookie quarterback. So
Yeah,
and that's
that's
another
going to
one.
get you for a few.
Kind of looking back at my week 2 game with Noel, I needed 3 turnovers with my defense to get Cortez Street X Factor, and I couldn't have been happier than to see a rookie quarterback coming up on my schedule for that, because same thing, he tried to get him as many yards as he could passing and dev him, and that's just right to my guys. So maybe that's the same thing with Clink. He's worried too much about that.
Clink's got to make it a little easier on himself. Don't worry about the dev; it'll come naturally if you're playing well.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned, but we'll see if he takes that advice.
Yeah, I think if you're trying to dev a guy and you start leaning on him too heavy, you do get out of your game and then more one-dimensional and easier to stop, and you're kind of counterproductive at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I fell into the same trap with Norton early on. I wanted to get him as many touchdowns, as many yards as possible. And when I was focusing on it, I was passing way worse than when I was like, nah, forget it. Like, if I play well, it's going to come. And then sure enough, I started balancing out a little more, get a little more unpredictable. And, I ended up getting the dev with him anyway, because from there on, your offense just gets so much more efficient.
Yep. Speaking of teams that are kind of on the rise, Hova with a 24-21 win over the Falcons.
The first and goal legend.
Yeah, he's maybe putting a little bit of winning and talent to combine with that personality. So
I love it.
That's a team that could be on the rise. Last season to start on first and goal, my bold prediction was that Hova doesn't finish in the bottom of the NFC North, and he didn't. I'm not going to make that prediction again.
Although he did just lose, I think he did just lose Hawkinson for like a majority of the season.
He did lose him for, I believe, 9 weeks, so that may hurt him.
Yeah,
he does like his tight ends.
The
The second big upset, and this one maybe not as big of an upset, but an upset nonetheless. Paulie, 24-21 over the Rams. That's Paulie's second big win over a team that was in the playoffs last season. First one coming, obviously, week 1 where he shut down Bayless. Now he goes up against Akers, and he comes away with a win again. Is Paulie's team for real?
Paulie's teams are for real when Paulie is not like mentally taking himself out of the game. It seems like Paulie wants to go into every game with an excuse, like pre-planned. Just don't worry about it. Just go win the game. You can do it. We believe in you. You can do it. The defense is pretty solid. It doesn't have the same level of abilities as, Dan or you, Bomber. But, there's some talent here. Tolbert is a stud. Breida, fast as cheeks. There's definitely pieces here to win games.
Yeah, and don't forget he added Jadeveon Clowney this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
So that
slightly sketchy, but he got him.
Yeah, he got him all right.
Sorry, Coop. I'm trying to help you out here. We'll see if it works.
The next game, Ravens fall to 0-2. This time it's Ginn and the Raiders that are able to take down the Ravens. Ginn looked pretty good. I saw his last touchdown. NYT hits him in the backfield, and Future just keeps going, just stumbles around, gains like 5 yards, touchdown.
Again is a problem for sure.
Yeah, he looks really good, and that puts Future at 2-0 on the season. Maybe giving Dan a little run for it this regular season.
Hopefully, I would like to see a little shake up there in the AFC West.
Yeah, at least keep that division close. Make him work for it.
Yeah, make him sweat. Let him know you're there.
Then we had Rowan. Rowan gets his second win of the season, 38-17 over KJ. I wouldn't brag about that, but I mean it's still a win. He's on your schedule, so you take it. Dump 31-18 over the Bears. Again, I saw Jalen Hurts at least throw one interception. I'll have to go back and check. And it was the only interception he had. It was down in the red zone. Dump kept saying he was going to put like 60 on Figs for making him wait to play the game, and he got half that. So
he got halfway. That's not too bad.
Then Meats finally getting back in the win column, 30-21 over Tiny. Tiny continues to look like the bottom of the NFC West. He's
always plays Meats tight.
He does.
But,
he's using Derek
rarely
Carr
comes
now.
away with the victory.
Gave up Russell Wilson to use Derek Carr. Derek Carr 3 interceptions in this game.
Yeah, I think the Wilson to Carr downgrade is gonna snuff out any chances that Tiny had, but
yeah, it's not
they were
going to help him
admittedly kind of low. No.
Death Wish 31-13 over the Buccaneers. Prime 38-14 over Mike. Mike wasn't really happy, but Prime in chat said if he wanted to, he could have put 50 on Mike. I know Mike says.
Yeah, I heard the line on that was 55 points. So
yeah, Mike said that
counts.
1 or 2 plays go another way, and it's 31-24 or something. 1 or 2 plays go another way, and it's almost 60. So, I mean, I'm sure Prime had his plays. I tend to agree with Prime that I think he could have put 50 on him. I don't doubt that for a second. Then we had the Panthers and the Vikings. Close game, 21-14. And what could be a potential NFC Championship matchup. You ended up on the losing side of that one, but I didn't get to see too much.
Yeah,
of that game.
not my best passing game. That Panthers defense is good and they're fast. Very good secondary, so it can be difficult to move the ball on that. I threw one really rough pick. Which I mean, it was just literally a blind read, just one of the worst. Yeah. I just picked a play that I've seen like very few coverages defend, and so I just like chucked it without really paying attention, and that ended up being what really hurt me.
Yeah, generally not a good game plan.
It's a bad strategy. I wouldn't I wouldn't advise, but hats off to the Panthers defense, very good. Obviously, CMC is CMC.
Yeah.
The amount of times that you hit that guy and he turns it into 7 yards anyway is just ridiculous. So.
Well, then Matt continues his winning ways with a 31-21 win over October and the Texans. And then that brings us to the last 2 games. One is probably going on now between Washington and Cincinnati. I think I saw they were scheduled for 5:30. It's about 5:50 now, so they're probably well underway or delayed again. And then the last game, and I haven't heard a time or anything because I've been busy today, but the Jets and the Titans, I don't know. I played Latin week 1. It was immediately after the draft that he had no idea what was going on. So he didn't even know what day it was. I don't know. Rough weekend,
tough
I guess.
Break for Latin.
But,
yeah.
So maybe he still doesn't know what's going on. I know he's got a new phone, and who knows. But that game may or may not be taking place here in the next couple minutes. Either way, we're going to have an advance tonight at 10 o'clock, so it really doesn't matter. So that's going to be our recap. So if you want, next... why don't we go ahead and we'll go over our predictions that we have coming up. And the first game that we have is going to be the Week 3 game, Cincinnati and Dallas. You got Grams and Two-Step going at it. Graham's looking really good right now. Who do you have in this game? I'll let you pick first.
Tough to pick against my heat check darling. You put Cincinnati there, you're going to tempt me every time. But Grams looks hot. Defense looks good. A lot of talent. He's added some very good pieces. So I'm gonna ride that wave until he shows me not to.
Oh, and I'm gonna have to turn off. I've apparently already got some leftover text colors, so I'm gonna go ahead and change that real quick. And it's not gonna let me. That's fine. I'll change it at the end. Right now it's showing up red. But we'll just take that. Okay, so you want Grams.
Yeah, give me the Cowboys.
All right. I'm gonna take Two-Step in Cincinnati.
Ooh, okay. The tables have turned.
I think he's
Somebody
gonna
else
upset
picking
him.
the heat check darling.
Yeah, I think he's gonna upset him. I feel good about Two-Step right now. We'll see if that works out. He's got Joe Burrow developed to like a 91 right now, despite like 6,000 interceptions. So maybe this is the one. He kind of turns it around. Plus Grams, he's 2-0 right now. I don't think that's a good example or a good indicator of where he's actually at. I think it's just been a favorable schedule so far. So Two-Step, represents the AFC, and he's going to take down Grams. Our next week 3 game, we have this on here every single time because it's such a toss-up. The Browns and the Ravens. Once again, you have the AFC North, Browns sitting at 1-1, Ravens sitting at 0-2, and I just don't think anybody wants to win it. Or maybe just no one in the AFC North is that good. You got KJ and Two Step, both guys that are under 300 or under 200. KJ's under 200, Two Step's under 400 career win percentage in the SML. So it's not a surprise that they're at the bottom there. But NYT's under 500, and Woods is just over 500. So it's not really a division that anybody's going to run away with, and these two seem to be at the top of it. So I'm going to pick Woods in this game. Woods is due for a win against them. He lost the division last time, so it seems like they go back and forth, and I think this will be his turn to win it. So I'm going to go with Woods in this game.
I'm gonna go NYT in this one. I think he's down 0-2 in the season so far, so he kind of needs this win. I feel like the urgency's probably already there in week 3. And I feel like their pattern to this point has usually been NYT earlier in the season, Woods later in the season. So I'm going to go NYT here, and then maybe later in the season I'll be picking Woods when we visit this again. All
right. So next one, talking about teams that don't want to win, we have the Chiefs and the Steelers. Kind of a battle of the basement here. And I'll let you pick this one.
Not kind of, definitely. Yeah. Definitely a battle of the basement here. You feel crazy picking against a KC team, but Raider has not really shown me much of anything to this point of being able to use them. I think I saw in his last game, Pat Mahomes was his leading rusher with like under 15 yards. I don't know how that's possible when a team has to play the pass all the time on defense, but it is. So I'm gonna roll with KJ here. I think him and the Steelers can pull this out. Big game for the rookie coming in.
All right. I am going to go with KJ as well. KJ's got that new running back, and there's actually probably a little bit of tension here because Raider wanted that halfback, and KJ said, "Nope, I'm taking him." And so I think Raider would love to just shut down that halfback and beat him, and you should have taken somebody else. Problem is, I don't think he can. I thought he was tanking this last season, and maybe there was a little bit of tanking in it. But looking at his, and again, I'll reference it because Meats just sent it to me earlier today, but his all-time SML record, good God, he's awful. He's like 25 and 100 and something. What is it, like under a 200 win percentage? He's not far ahead of KJ. And I think right now KJ's playing better. He's been in the last 2 games. He's put up double-digit points, which is what Raider hasn't been able to do. So I'm going to go with KJ.
Yeah.
And that'll bring us to the next one. 2 slightly better teams, the Dolphins and the Cardinals. This probably is going to end up being a little bit better game than the last one. But who do you have in this game?
I've flip-flopped back and forth on it quite a bit. I think I'm going to go with Pauly. He's off to a good start. He doesn't have, any injuries. Sometimes the thing with Breida is he can get hurt and you're missing him for some time, but he's got a healthy team right now. He's off to a good start. And I think the thing that puts him over the edge is that he is generally very good at avoiding user defenders from what I've seen him play. And that is where Meats makes his money on defense. So I think if Pauly can, stick to that turnover-free football, avoid Simmons and Reddick, I think he'll be okay and pull this one out.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Dolphins too. Kind of the same reasons you said, but also because I don't think Pauly likes Meats. And when it's personal, I think you take the game a little more serious. And I think he would love nothing more than to beat Meats pretty good. So I'm going to go with Pauly as well. Then we have Washington and Carolina. I'll pick this one first, and I'm going to take Carolina because I just think he's playing really well. Just made it to the NFC Championship last season, albeit through a computer team 1 round. But then he played you just last week and he won. So,
he would have played me with Easton in the playoffs.
He would have played with Easton.
Let's chill.
But he still won, and he does have Russell Wilson this week. So going against Washington with Russell Wilson, I'll take Carolina.
Yeah, can't go wrong with either team. Both strong, both very good on defense. I'm gonna stick with my boy Q here. I pick him pretty much all the time, so I'm gonna keep rolling with that trend. Gotta go with the Thanos Club.
All right, and we'll have Washington as your pick. So next up is going to be the Rams and the 49ers. This is the game of the week. I don't think there was much question. Washington, Carolina, maybe, but I don't think there's any question. It's San Francisco and the Rams here in the game of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you have in this game?
I've got RD. Maybe a little Super Bowl hangover. Loss against Pauly, but I'm not too worried about it. RD seems to have Dump's number. And I just think in the battle of the running backs, I think Akers comes out on top.
All right. I'm going to go. This is a tough one. I'm going to go with Dump. I think
we are going to have a lot of separation in our standings next week.
I think it's we're definitely going to have one team. Well, we'll probably end up splitting anyway.
Somehow.
But I've got Dump winning this one. I just think he's a little hotter right now. RD coming off that loss to Pauly, maybe shook him a little bit. I don't know. Pauly does play pretty good defense. Dump's run defense is actually pretty well, or pretty good as well. So I'm going to give this one to Dump. Both their games I think that they played have been really close, and I think Dump maybe comes out on top this one. Edens is only getting better, and he's already a problem. So I'll go with Dump. That'll be it for week 3. Week 4. Will then be Chicago and New Orleans as our first game. Figs and Colt. I'm going to take Colt in this game. I don't know why. He did just beat Dan, so I would say that would give him more confidence, but I don't think confidence has ever been his problem. It's living up to that confidence that's kind of been an issue, but I'm going to go with him in this game. He's just got so many weapons. And I don't know if Figs can stay sober for an entire game. So I'm going to go with Colt this game.
Yeah, these two teams remind me a lot of each other. I do think that Colt's team is more well off talent wise. This is really just going to come down to who throws less picks. But I think I'm going to stick with you. Go with Colt on this one.
All right. Then we have another game that's going to have NFC North opponents. And this will be Green Bay, Detroit. Hova looking pretty good right now, coming off a win. And I'm going to go with Hova. I think he actually looks fairly decent, which is more than I can say for the Packers lately. So I'm going to go with Hova. He's trending up. Mike's trending down. And I think Hova's going to keep going up.
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, Mike's had a tough start to the season just on schedule. So I think it'll be nice to take maybe a step down in the opposition talent level here. Don't like that you're making me pick between my brothers from the North here, but I'm gonna roll with Mike.
All right. Yeah, his schedule, I'll give him that. His schedule has been difficult, but he wasn't exactly lighting the league on fire last season either.
You're not wrong.
So I feel like Hova is getting better every year, and there's some teams that aren't, and I think Mike's one of those teams. All right, big game in week 4. This time, finally, not the last game of the season. It's going to be the Broncos and the Colts. Last time they met, was a last game of the season. I don't even know if anybody watched it. Dan ended up winning that game. The last time they met, and it meant something, Prime beat Dan pretty easily. Dan only came back because Prime tried to put 60 on him and got a little careless with the ball. Who do you have in this one?
This is another one that I've gone back and forth on. I'm going to roll with Prime, though. I think this is a game that you're going to see missing Von Miller really hurt. I don't think there's going to be any breakout implications here. If there is, I'm going to be a little jealous. But I'm going to roll with Prime. I think Von Miller missing is gonna hurt when it comes to stopping Prime on third down. Sucks. I've played him twice now, and this dude just pulls magic out of his hat on like every third down. It's crazy, and that's where Von can make a difference. So missing him, I think, is going to be the big deal. I go Prime here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Prime as well. The last time they met and it meant something, Prime did a pretty good job shutting him down. And now Prime's going to have an easier time scoring without Von Miller. So I'm going to go with Prime. Now, if they meet in the playoffs, maybe it goes a different way. But right now, Dan's quarterback is still a rookie, not with much time to develop. I mean, we're talking about a Week 4 game here, so he hasn't had too much time to develop him. He's still got to figure out the defense, missing Von Miller. And I don't know if that rookie is the answer in the short term or even for the rest of the cycle. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to develop him to be anything even remotely close to Von Miller. So until he can find that second pass rusher to go with Chubb, I'm going to go with Prime. And then we're going to throw Week 4, another game for Dallas. Dallas actually makes all 4 or all 3 weeks that we're going to pick. This one, Dallas against the Eagles and Clink. I'm going to take Grams in this one, just because I don't think Clink knows what he's doing at this point. I don't know what's going on there, but 7 interceptions, rookie quarterback. He's already 0-2. Just nothing really going the Eagles' way.
Yeah, Clink's spiraling a little bit. I think he has a chance to right the ship here. It's still early. If he can just simplify his offense quite a bit, I think he's going back to Miles Sanders at running back, which will help. So I'm tempted to pick him here, and I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to put some faith in him, see if he can prove me right, or just give him a little bit of motivation to, make things a little easier on yourself. Simplify. Or
the Faz curse.
I'm going Philly.
So he's going Eagles. All right. All right. So our last 4 games will be Week 5. First one up is going to be New England and Buffalo. Buffalo and Noel came out looking really good Week 1, and then a little flat that second half of Week 2. And then Matt, obviously, he started off 2-0. Kind of looks like he's maybe found his groove after last season's debacle or collapse, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to go. You know what? I'm actually going to go with the Bills. I think Noel's.
You did exactly the opposite of what I thought you were going to do.
Yeah, I think Noel's going to bounce back. We'll see if he proves me wrong though. But that's where I'm going.
All right, I see it. And you know what? We're just going to keep things going the way that we have been. I'm going to go different from you. I'm going to take Matt, just for the reason it's different than you.
All right, that's a good reason. And then our third showing of Dallas on here. This time it's going to be Dallas against Washington. I know Grams beat Washington last season, but I think Q is a different tier player than Grams, and I'm going to go with Washington.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see this game because I think it's going to be a very true first test for this Dallas defense with all the new pieces. But with that said, I'm going to still lean Q here. Kind of gave my reasoning last time I picked him. I just think his team's very good. I think he's a great owner as long as he doesn't start throwing second half picks, which the possibility is there against this defense, but that's why I'm excited to see it. So I think this is a big test, both teams, but I'm going to take Q.
Yeah, and funny enough, both teams drafted middle linebackers in the first round, so we'll see who ends up.
Washington's looks good.
So does Dallas. I believe he's got an interception in each game.
I don't think I've seen him yet. I have seen Q's.
Yeah, I think he's got an interception in each game. So, and I think he's actually. They may both have hidden dev. I'm not sure, but I know for sure one of them does. So we'll see. I think that's.
I know Washington was my number 1 target in the draft. I thought that guy was going to be a beast, and he sure was. And then I watched him play, and I was sad.
Next up will be the Giants taking on Carolina. Rowan has looked all right so far, but it's still Rowan, so I'm going to go with Carolina. Again, I think Muse is just playing a lot better right now.
Yeah, this is going to be a big first test for Rowan early on. I'm excited to see how he handles it. I think this could be kind of a season-setting game for him. With that said, I'm going to pick Dom. We know what happens when I pick Rowe. He plays like garbage, so I want to see a good game. I'm going to take Dom here and the Panthers and hope that we get a good one.
All right, and then our last one will be the Bengals taking on the Eagles. So again, we have Clink on here and the Bengals on here for a second time. Who do you have in this game?
You're killing me on this one. You got Heat Check Darling against the Thanos Club Darling. Neither one of them has ever lived up to the hype that I've given them. It's killing me. I'm gonna say I'm going to say that if I'm right and Clint gains some momentum in week 4, I think he builds on it in week 5 and he takes 2 in a row here.
All
I'm
right.
going to go Eagles.
So you're going to go Eagles, and I'm going to go with two-step.
It's only right.
For the exact same reason. I think this season maybe he kind of finds his groove with that Bengals team, gets Mixon involved, and then Joe Burrow's playing pretty well. I think this is going to be the week or the season for the Bengals. So that'll be it for our picks, and we'll see next week, obviously, how we actually did in these picks.
Spoiler alert, probably not good.
Yeah, probably not the best, but we'll see. One of us may have done well. So the next thing we'll go over, and this is how we'll finish up this show. We're sitting at 35 minutes right now, so we'll probably end up right about the hour mark.
We got a cushion.
Let's go over the divisions, maybe a little bit about each team and who we think is going to win the division. And we'll start.
You're going to go about each team?
Well,
you're going to really push that hour.
I mean, just a little bit. Let's not get carried away.
Okay.
If we've already hit on them a bunch, we'll breeze over that. But starting with the AFC North, and obviously the Bengals, they've only played one game so far, but they're sitting at 1-0, and they've got Washington today, which could be that game may be over. I don't even know, but that one will give a good idea of where the Bengals are. Who do you have in this AFC North?
I would love to see one of these teams just run away with it. I still don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to take Woods. I think he has the best roster. And in a division that's that tight with owners, I think roster can play a very big key. So I think that's what separates them. But honestly, even if KJ were to win this division, I don't actually think I'd be surprised. I'd probably be a little surprised, but not as surprised as some of the other divisions.
Yeah, I really could see anyone win. I mean, right now we're looking at the Afc North standings, and quite possibly for the first time this cycle, KJ is not listed at the bottom. Now, granted, he's tied with MIT, but he's got more points for. He's also given up 10 more points against. The point differential's about even.
It is even. It's exactly at 28.
Well, yeah, you're right. It is. So
it's as even as it gets.
I guess points for is probably why he's ahead of him. But yeah, I think it's probably going to be the Browns if Woods can get out of his own way and stop trading away his roster. I don't understand the Watt trade. You had J.J. Watt on a $1 million contract.
That one was baffling to me. It also pissed me off because I'm sitting here trying to give anything for a D tackle and he just sends him away for nothing. I mean,
you're going to spend the exact same amount of money to fill that roster spot so you have 53, and you had J.J. Watt. Granted, you got some decent picks, but we're talking about you're going to have 3 seasons left. What are you going to do with those picks? Realistically, like you've just thrown away another season for more picks. Those don't carry over to the next cycle, so I don't really see the point of that. For as cheap as you had J.J. Watt, you're not cutting salary. Like you have to sign somebody that's probably going to cost you more if they're a 75 overall. So kind of
they
a
definitely
waste.
Will. I signed Eddie Goldman for $6 million. He had J.J. Watt for 1. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, it just makes no sense. And then you kept him in the AFC, so you basically said, I'm not going to win the AFC.
Could have just sent him to the NFC. Could have made it easier on yourself.
So really, I don't know what the Browns are doing other than doing his best ZZ impersonation, basically. Fills his spot on the admin team, and then apparently that carries over to roster management and gameplay because he looks really bad right now. But so does the rest of the AFC North, so I'm going with the Browns to win it. Moving on, AFC South. Generally a two-team race between the Jaguars and the Colts. Right now the Colts sitting in third, pending the Titans game, which may or may not happen tonight. It'll either be, I'm guessing, a Coop win off the sim, or he'll play Latin and it'll be a Coop win. So, but that'll put them tied. I think this division, I'm going to say Prime probably wins it because he's won it every season except the first. I tend to have that little slump somewhere in the season that costs me multiple games, and I'll just save up for the postseason.
Yeah, let's see. This division has one team that's averaging 50 points a game, 2-0. There's another team that's won it a bunch of times. You both still have yet to play each other. I feel like there's one team that's kind of a slam dunk answer. and one team that, is a solid answer. And with all that logic thrown to the side, one team didn't wait one day for me in the playoffs, and that's the team I'm going to pick because Foz curse. Colts.
All right, Colts with the curse. And we'll see if it actually pans out this season. So then we have the AFC East. For some reason, the Bills are at the top at 1-1, and then the Dolphins and the Patriots both 2-0 underneath them.
Oh, really? Mine shows the Dolphins up top, Patriots second.
Mine definitely shows the Bills up top. For some reason, I'll just say Madden.
That sounds good. Yep.
Yeah, maybe I'll sort by percentage. We'll see if that changes anything the rest of the way through. But it does have the Bills with a 3 next to them for the rank, so I'm pretty sure it's retarded. But this division, it's tough to pick against Paulie. I think he's won it every year except one, and he just beat RD in the Rams. So I'm going to go with Paulie in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same. I think he's the most consistent team in the division. Does he have a first place schedule this season?
Yes, he does. He won the division last time.
He does. That might open the door for Matt, but I'm still going to roll with Paulie, especially now that he's got a win against RD already under his clip.
Yeah, and the rest of them, Matt obviously playing a little better, but then you have Noel and you've got Latin. I mean, those guys, you circle them as wins on your schedule. So,
right.
I don't think they're going to put up a legitimate threat. They may win in 5-6 games, maybe 7 games. I don't know. Noel's looking a little better, but over long term, Noel's a 500 player in the SML. Everybody talks about, Noel was 13-3. Well, that 13-3 has him a 500 lifetime winning percentage, or right around there. So, let's not get carried away thinking he's going to just blow away Paulie, who's winning over 650 or a 650 win percentage, close to 700. So he's clearly the better player. So I think Noel's underperforming, but I think not by as much as people want to say.
Right.
Then we'll go to the AFC West in a division that I think could get a lot closer. Like we've hit on Dan missing, his quarterback and Von Miller. But some teams that we haven't really talked about, the Chiefs, I mean, we've talked about them being awful because they're going to continue to be awful. But the Chargers and the Raiders, I think, have closed the gap, or shrunk the gap. They haven't closed it because I still think Dan is going to win this division. But I think both teams are going to give him a run for their money. Chargers, that team's just stacked. Deathwish plays Dan fairly close every time. He's beaten Raider or Future both times, I think, last season that they played. He beat him, and one of them was pretty handily. So the two of them are probably fairly close to the same level. And just looking at the Chargers right now, 45 points for, 19 points against. I mean, he's playing good defense with that team. I think they're both going to keep it close. I still think Dan wins the division.
Yeah, if Dan had a harder schedule, I'd be tempted to pick Future. But there's not a ton of crazy games on here. Obviously, he's going to have Future twice, which is going to be a big part of their final. But then other than that, I mean, he's got Prime this week. He's got Dom in week 6. Not a ton of crazy difficult games after that. Paulie week 15, whereas Future does have some tough ones left. He also has Dom. He has you. He's still going to have Dan twice. He's got Woods. So I think if Dan had a slightly tougher schedule, maybe if he didn't play the AFC North, maybe you see a slight change of the guard, but I think Dan's going to pull this one out still. Raiders going to keep it close, though.
Yeah, I think it'll be closer than most seasons.
Yeah.
Next up, I don't even know why we talk about this division. The NFC North. Obviously, the Vikings are going to win this division, probably have it wrapped up by week 11 or so.
That's the hope. We'll see.
I just don't think there's a division with 3 worse teams anywhere in the SML.
You could, I don't really think there's much of an argument for that.
I mean, Hova's got to win, and it's only only week 2, which is impressive for him. That's
hate to do us dirty, but the body of work that we've produced has not been pretty.
No, it's been downright bad. Just looking at not a single team, and this is including you, not a single team this season has scored more points than they've given up in the NFC North.
Give me some time.
Yeah,
We'll rate the ship.
hopefully one more game because it's only 4-point difference for your team. But 34-70 for the Lions, 21-58.
Mike is due to beat me here
for the Packers.
Mike's due.
Yeah, and 32-66 for the Bears. So it's not even like it's close. Those three teams just really bad. So we'll see. We'll see if any of them can kind of close the gap. But easily Vikings are going to run away with this.
I'm not going to argue with you.
All right. Speaking of runaways, then we have the NFC South. You got the Panthers 2-0, Saints 1-1, and both the Falcons and Bucks 0-2. And I think similar to the NFC North, with the exception maybe a little bit more talent in the South. I think Muse runs away with this division as well. Again, probably by like week 14, he's got it locked up at the latest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Field doesn't have a super easy schedule. It's not too bad, but I mean, he does have Dan on here. He's gonna have to play Q. Obviously, he's gonna have the division games, one more against Dom. So I don't think there's enough, slam dunk games for Field. I think Dom will drop a couple, but I don't think there's going to be enough for Field to make that jump. So I think the Panthers take this one. All
right. NFC East right now, I mean, we just hit on it a little bit earlier. They look pretty good. You got Graham's 2-0, Rowan's 2-0, Washington with QP. They're 1-0.
Freaking Clink.
Pending whatever's going on with the Bengals game, and then Clink 0-2. I tend to think that this is a little bit inflated from where it's going to be. I obviously don't expect any of these teams other than maybe Q to make a push to be like a 13-win team. So I think over the course of the season, as the schedule kind of plays out, I think QP ends up taking this division. But if Grams can continue to play defense like he is, where he's only giving up 12 points a game, I think he can at least make it a little closer than it has been and maybe sneak into one of those wild card spots.
Yeah, I think this is the only division in the SML outside of the AFC North that I think all four teams have a shot. That does include Clink, despite his tough start. Q is the most consistent of the four, so I'm going to pick him. But even then, he's shown at times that he'll unravel in a game, or he'll drop one that you didn't think he was going to drop. So the window's open for the other three teams, but I think Q is too consistent to pick against them.
All right. And the last division that we're going to hit on is going to be the NFC West, always one of the tougher divisions this cycle. You have Dump at 2-0, both the Rams and the Cardinals at 1-1, and then Tiny also ran. I think I mentioned it earlier, but I think Dump's going to take this division. He seems to be playing a little better. It obviously comes down to how focused can Dump be. Which one of his Tinderellas is gonna take his focus
Tinderella.
Away? Yeah,
you said Tinderella.
So we'll see.
I just need to make sure that is known.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how long his focus lasts. But right now, outscoring his opponents 80-28, and he's looking pretty good doing it. If he can, maybe just swallow your pride a little bit. All right, Jalen Hurts is not good. He's workable. He'll get you. You could win the division with him, but not if you try to prove a point. You need to lean on Edens, take the division, and then let Jalen Hurts not kill you. Because I think that's the only thing that's going to hold him back is when he comes in. I'm gonna prove Jalen Hurts is a top quarterback in the league. He's not. So if you want to try to prove it and throw pick sixes to Hova, that's fine. But you start throwing pick sixes to RD, to Meats, to you, to any of the teams at the top of the NFC, you're not going to just blow them out in the second half like you did with Hova, 49-10 or whatever. But as long as he can lean on Edens and use Hurts for what he is, I think Dump ends up winning the NFC West.
Yeah, that will be what ends up being his downfall if he loses this division. I think it's going to come down to because he tried to force the ball with Jalen Hurts too much. I do think that this is his season to win it. He has a very winnable schedule. It doesn't look too bad. RD's schedule isn't bad either. But it can be hard after winning a Super Bowl to keep the same compete level week in and week out. So I'm gonna roll with Dump taking the division this season.
Yeah, I think that's probably like I said, I think that's what it's gonna be. But we'll see. And I think that's gonna do it for this week's show. Unless you have something else, I don't really have anything. That's gonna put us right at 50 minutes.
We did it.
Yeah, we're under an hour. So let me see if I can burn up 10 minutes real quick. But
oh man, can you imagine?
I'm sure there's some errors in this show, and I'm sure Grams is gonna let us know. So Grams, this is your official invitation. You can come be our error guy. Yeah, if you don't have anything else, that's all I've got.
That's all I've got. That should be it for this week. Best of luck in week 3, everybody. Again, happy birthday / anniversary, whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
All right, that's gonna do it.
Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat. Can I get a heat check, 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 heat check. Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check.